right, we are live in effect. I know many of you guys are just getting out of bed, but guess what? We're going to wake you up the right way because we got somebody special for you guys in the locker room show, live with us, living legend, but we'll get to that here shortly. First and foremost, I got to introduce my other host with the most, the gentleman that holds me down in the trenches every single locker room show, and that is none other than Q, the Guru. What's going on, Guru?
What's going on, Coach? How you feeling, man? We got a pure legend. It don't get better than this, folks. If
Hey,
you tuning
man.
in, it does not get better than this. It's a gold jacket wear. You understand? So you guys tune in and definitely pay attention to what this man has to say.
Hey, I was up bright and early, making sure I was not going to be late for this show. I could hardly say it was Super Bowl time, Q. So let's get right into it. The gentleman that you guys see in the middle of the screen really doesn't need any introduction. But if you've been hiding under a rock for the last 30, 40 years, let me introduce this man and let you know some of the accolades he has and who you're sitting in front of. So the gentleman that you guys see in the middle of the screen, you guys, is a football living legend. This is somebody that growing up in the Bay Area myself, I've had the pleasure to watch from a very young age. Someone that you guys know, I have a Hall of Fame grandfather, Willie Wood, rest in peace, that adored this man and thought very highly of this man. And also, you guys, four-time Super Bowl champion. Many of us dream of winning that baby once. This man has won it 4 times, so it's not a fluke, and has been to the Pro Bowl 10 times, All-Pro 8 times, college, high school, All-American. It's red carpet for the gentleman that we have in the middle of the screen, and that's none other than the Pro Football Hall of Famer, Ronnie Lott. Ronnie, how's it going today?
Hey, man, it's going great. I like the introduction.
Well, you can take me along with you, brother. I got it ready, dialed up. But no, we appreciate you coming on. I know it's right before the Thanksgiving holiday, so thank you so much for your time.
Hey, look, no problem. I think what's great about today is that, as we all know, you reflect on these moments of being around your family. You reflect on the fact that here it is, Thanksgiving. And then the other thing that got me excited about, being with you guys is that, there is something about turkey and football, right? That just, it just gets me fired up.
Go together.
I just wanted to be able to start Wednesday instead of Thursday. I want to start Wednesday with you guys, just, chopping it up.
No, that's perfect right there. And we couldn't start a better way. And the Niners kicked us off with the butt whooping on Monday night. So we're good to go. I see some of our favorites in here. We got Marco Munoz and the Ernest Munoz family. Greetings from Texas. We love you guys. We got the great Coach Foss says, let's go. Welcome, Mr. Lott. We've got, of course, Jimmy Rucker saying, let's get it. And we've got Rick De Jesus saying, good morning. I know he's a Raiders fan, so he probably loves your Raiders days a little bit more than the Niners days. But Big Rick is with us. So, hey, thank you guys for joining us. If you're joining us for the first time, the Locker Room Show, we get into the trending topics, the things that pertain to you young football players, you parents, you coaches out there. And then, of course, we're going to get into Ronnie's story, too. So let's get started and let's kick it off, you guys. Once again, living legend in the house, high school All-American, college All-American, and then a Pro Football Hall of Fame career. So definitely great to have the great Ronnie Lott on. So the first topic we're going to get into here, Ronnie, is the college decision process, because we work with student athletes with Before You Go Pro that will be deciding, many of them next month, where they're going to college. And you were an All-American coming out of Eisenhower High and had many different options. You chose to stay close to where you went to high school and played for USC. But can you think back, Ronnie, can you dial back to that decision time? I'm sure a lot of people had opinions, but what was it that made you choose USC?
John Robinson, when he was the head coach, he came and he said, hey, I want you to think about this opportunity. And he goes, it's not the opportunity that a lot of people think about. He goes, but I want you to think about the people. And I want you to think about how we're going to learn how to compete. And I said, what? He goes, you're going to learn how to compete. And he started talking about this thought of, competing against the best. And to me, I think one of the great things in life sometimes is we're always trying to get better. But when you find yourself competing against the best, and you find yourself thinking about what that means, there's something inside you that you start to get, you start to boil a little bit, and you start to boil because something inside you is like, oh wow, that's telling me that there's something there that I need to learn how to compete against the best. And a lot of times, that bar that we set for ourselves, at least in my mind, it's got to be really high. And the reason it's got to be really high is that when you think about competing against anyone, whether it's Michael Jordan or if it's Jerry Rice, you want to go against the best. And so that thought and idea of what John Robinson was talking about was competing against the best is something that just inspired me, and it made me realize that I want to be around that. I like how that smells, and I want to be around it. And I think the other thing that's really amazing is that when you're a young kid, you don't know how good you can be, and you don't even understand it. And then you get around it, and then you see a guy like Dennis Thurman. And Dennis Thurman, man, was my guy, because when I used to watch him at SC, I used to sit there and go, man, I want to be like that dude. And so, when I would see DT, I would watch him and then meeting him, and then him mentoring me, and him telling me and talking to me and sharing with me all the things that he did at USC. And so I think that when you see the best, I want the kids to understand that, man, model yourself after the best. Model yourself and look at qualities of the best people out there at whatever they do, and try to find how to model those type of characteristics in your life.
That's amazing, Ronnie. And obviously, you've been around so many greats, and I know that's helped you raise your game to a new level. Q, I know you got something for the next question.
Definitely. So Ronnie, we wanted to ask you, the game has changed a lot, in regards to, all the way down to practice, with a lot of guys going third all the time and not going full go. So we wanted your opinion on the targeting penalties now. We know you're a super physical player, one of the greatest hitters of all time at any position across the board. So how do you feel like that the game has changed? Is that a bad thing, or is it or is it good in regards to maybe them trying to protect the players a little bit better with this era?
Well, again, this is what I love about, chopping it up with you guys, because this subject matter to me is a great subject matter. And I'm going to start it off by sharing with you, Barry Bonds told me once, when you play and you see the ball, and when you watch the ball, there are certain things that you have to attack the ball. And he's one of the greatest baseball hitters of all time. And what I always thought about was when he talked about that, what does that mean? Where are you aiming? And I think that one of the great things that you have to learn today, and by the way, if I'm going to be considered the best, then I'm going to learn how to be the best at hitting the target, the right target at the right spot. And so when people tell me, oh, you would lose all your money now, and you would lose all your money because you would get fined every week. No, I'm not. No, I'm smart. I know where to hit. I know where to tackle.
Yeah.
I know how to play within the rules of the game. And the reason I'm telling you that is that isn't that the pride that we should take? The pride of taking the opportunity to say, one, I'm playing the game, but two, I'm going to play within the rules. And by the way, not only going to play within the rules, but I'm going to be the best at making sure that I keep my head out of there. I'm going to find ways to do it the right way because when I watch wrestlers, when I watch college wrestling, because I go there and I can tell you right now, when they take them down, they find a way to tuck their head in there and they get them and they flip them up and they take them down.
Yeah.
And my point is that technique is just an example of something that when you watch wrestling, there are certain things that people have to do to get in that position to take them down. And my point is that means all of us, I mean, everybody that plays in the secondary today, that means it takes extra practice. That means that you have to be able to play like Steph Curry. That means that you have to have consistency in how you think about hitting. So to me, the same practice that Steph goes into the gym saying, hey, I'm going to shoot from there. And by the way, not only am I going to shoot from there, I'm going to change the game. Now, the best safety in the league, if you have whoever that is, and that guy has to be able to say to everybody, that's what I do every day. I go out every day trying to be I want to be the standard bearer for that position. I want to show people that I'm going to be the best at that position by doing these things within the rules. And so to me, that's what I love about playing the game of sport is like, now that the rules have changed, am I going to give up? No. And by the way, my mom, who I'm going to see tomorrow, if I lose $50,000, she what?
Boy, that money could have went to me.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, Ronnie, is when you look at these games, and I know you gotta agree with me. When you look at tapes of you and Pepper Johnson and LT, and you look at these kids now, and they have all this athleticism, but their fundamentals in a lot of cases are terrible because look at all the and don't get me wrong, it's some great running backs, great receivers out there. I understand, but just think about, Ronnie, all the missed tackles that you see, and you looking at the screen like it's no way. You'll see one guy break 5 or 6 tackles, and you know in your era he's down. One shot, open field tackle is over. Bring out the punter.
And look, we have a great athlete that I watch every week watching the 49ers. That young man Debo. Right. That young man Debo is something. But in my head, as I watch him run, I'm like, what do I have to do to try to figure out how to, get him down? And the point is, you got to study that. You got to work at that. You can't just run up there and try to hit him and think that you're gonna take him down. That's not the excellence of the game. The excellence of the game is to say to him and to say to anyone that you tackle that there's got to be a better way. And the better way is trying to put yourself in a situation where I got to get him off the ground. I got to lift him up. I got to find a way to figure out how to get his legs from underneath him, because his legs and his strength, I can tell you right now, you better buckle it up.
Right.
If you don't buckle it up, man, he's gonna truck you. He's gonna run over you.
But Ronnie, you gotta think. But look at you. But you smacking Roger Craig in practice every day. So Sundays are a joke now.
They don't hit as much.
That's my point. But the thing that you got this again. Look, they don't hit as much, right? So what do? You got to go get the dummy bag. You got to go get the big heavy bag. When you go see that, there's a reason why those offensive linemen over there hitting that heavy bag.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They go over there and they hit the heavy bag. And the reason they hit the heavy bag is because the weight of that bag and the force of that bag coming at you is like an offensive guard coming at you. Well, why don't you tackle that? Yeah. No, I don't want to do that. Why would I want to do that? That ain't going to help me get better. Yo, it's going to help you get better. So you go and you swing the heavy bag and you work at swinging the heavy bag and you do it after practice every day because somebody's going to get you. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, when Earl Campbell ran, somebody's going to get you. And so you got to be ready for that moment.
Right.
You got to be ready for that moment, and you better hold on. And my point is, that's one of the things that I love when I watch Debo. You got to be able to execute the opportunity to tackle him the right way, and you have to find a way to be able to get him to stop his leg. So his leg is going to keep going no matter what. So you got to get him off the ground. You got to get him off the ground. And that technique of tackling and hitting the right target and using the shoulder and getting him and taking him down. And man, look, I'm going to tell you, that's a hard thing to do, but the great ones try to find a way to do it every day because they're trying to find a way to make sure that their excellence is exhibited. I want to make sure that when I'm playing the game,
I'm taking notes.
I'm telling you.
I want people to say, "Oh no, hey man, you know that's different. That's different." And then and by the way, I always crack up, man. When I used to watch Prime, that's different. He was different because there were things he would do that was different, and he shared his perspective of how he did things that was different. That's what made him special. And that's why when you think about his game, it's different. And that's what you want to be able to do. And so any linebacker, safety, any person that's tackling, it's different today. And you have to work at it and you have to make sure, which I know a lot of my friends, you know, every couple of weeks ago, I was talking to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was like, hey man, we're working on our tackling. We got to keep working on our tackling. And so here's a guy that I've known for a long time, and he's preaching tackling, and I'm sitting there going, man, he's still preaching tackling because that's what he loves as a coach, that tackling is so important in this game of football, especially when you're trying to be a winning football team.
Thanks.
Wow.
Thanks.
I see brother-in-law in the locker room, Fitz. He said, learning from Ronnie, you have to adjust to the rules and max out. So you're definitely right about that, Ryan. And you guys, this man will come, knock the snot out of your head coming across the middle, but he was smart. A lot of people don't give you credit, Ronnie, for how smart you were back there. You knew what was coming from the offense, you know, so there was a reason why you were there to make the plays, and you totally would have adjusted your game. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now we are on to our next topic, you guys, and we got the perfect gentleman to ask this question to. Big game mentality. Ronnie, big game mentality. You played in some of the biggest games that football has seen, whether it's been Rose Bowls, whether it's playing against Alabama in college, whether it's Super Bowls. So please give us some insight, these young athletes listening, to how to prepare mentally for a huge game. Some of these kids will be playing at state championship games. Some of these games, I know you're on the college football committee, are going to be playing for college football playoffs. A lot of pressure. How does Ronnie Lott prepare mentally for a big game?
To me, I think one of the great things about playing the game of football is that mentally, there were moments, especially my freshman year, I was sitting there and the coach would say, I need you to go in and I need you to cover the tight end. And I ran in there and I started, matter of fact, it was against UCLA. I ran in there, it was 4th down and it was the biggest play of the game. And I decided to go chase the quarterback. and the coach and the quarterback threw the ball to the tight end and they go ahead. And I'm sitting there and the coach came over and he goes, I can't believe I put you in to do that. And then the next day we won the game. Somehow somehow we came back, Paul McDonald, to beat UCLA, and we won the game. But the next day, man, the coach said, Ronnie, you got to apologize. I said, apologize to who? He goes, I want you to apologize to Willie Crawford. And here's why I want you to apologize to Willie Crawford, because when you went in the game, you really embarrassed all of us. And I was like, I did. What? He goes, you gotta apologize to him, and not only do you have to apologize to him, but you took time from him. In that moment, to me, even right now, as I'm telling you guys this story, I hurt. It's painful, bro. That was one of the most. So
was he an older player?
Oh yeah, and so here's a senior, and here I am, a freshman, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't ever want to have that moment happen to me again.
Ever again, right? Yeah.
Ever again. And so that day, after that, in the summer, I went home and I would guard that tight end, that imaginary tight end. And I would guard him, and I would, and so my point is that embarrassing moment told me a lot about how to conduct yourself in big game moments. In big game moments, it's about doing your job and doing your job to your best. And a lot of times when you think of the great players, you think of the great shots that Michael has made, or you think of the great throws that Joe Montana has made, or you think of the great catches, it's usually due to doing your job to the best. And so that day, my freshman year, I recognized I was not doing my job to the best. And so for all you young people out there that are going to be, heading into these games and these championship moments, do your job. Do your job, and do your job to the best. And make sure that you are fulfilling that opportunity, because the player next to you is counting on you. And knowing what I know, man, and being around, look, I had Marcus Allen as a roommate.
That's crazy.
Dennis Smith as a roommate.
I can't even I'm sorry, Ronnie. I can't even. Do you hear this, T? Like,
yeah, Hall of Famers, man, as your roommate. It's
normal
at USC.
Yeah, and I can't even process. At that time, it wasn't normal, but I can assure you, the three of us, and with our other buddy Eric Scoggins, rest in peace, man, all of us wanted to make sure that we were accountable, and that we figured out that there was something that we all had to know about each other. And that point, the point I'm making is, it's really around the concept of understanding why you have somebody's back. And even today, man, when I think of Smitty and I think of Marcus and I think of, man, how we have each other's back. And Eric Scoggins, who was with us, who, inspired me to get my degree, man, who had my back. And my point is, like, those kind of situations in life are situations where we got to make sure we hold on to. We got to hold on to our relationships and our friendships, and have people that are going to be by our side. I was listening to an Ohio State football player, and I was talking to him. He was we had this weekly award that we give out called the Lott Award, and it was a linebacker, and he was talking about how he was able to help his roommate. And because his roommate was on TV talking about how he cut himself, and he would cut himself. And I was like, and so when I heard that he was his roommate and he said that, and he goes, man, that's how much I helped him and how much we helped each other. And So, man, think about the power that we have when we can find ourselves doing, not just being a friend, but being somebody that can listen to you, somebody that can hear you, somebody that can hear your pain, somebody can deal with you. And that's why coaching matters, because coaches are those kind of people that when I do have a challenge in my life or I have a problem, I can go talk to Bill Walsh. I could go talk to my head coach at Eisenhower. I can go sit with John Robinson. And my point, Bill Christopher was my high school coach, and so, man, I think about all these guys that coached me, that I had to listen to, that helped me understand when I had problems or I made mistakes. And so, those are the things that coaches do to help you deal with the issues that you're going through. And so this pressure thing that we're talking about and the things that we see today, trust me, go to your coach, counsel with them, talk to them, tell them your frustrations, share your perspective of how you're feeling at the moment. But great coaches usually find a way to get you to see your best. And that's what John Robinson did. That's what a lot of my great coaches that I've been around, Dennis Thurman, I was just talking about DT, those kind of moments are the moments that you need to have a teammate there that's going to support you and is going to have your back.
Wow, that's big right there. So there you guys have it. A lot of you guys are going to be playing in some big time games pretty soon. And, you know, you got to be around your teammates. You got to be prepared and just have each other's back. It's going to work out, and talk to your coaches, like Ronnie said. We're on to our next topic, you guys. And Ronnie, thank you tremendously for your time. This is why I wanted to have this gentleman on, not just because of his background in the sport and all of the accolades, but because he tells the truth and he gives you everything he got. Just like on the football field, with these answers, he's going to give us everything he's got. So I love you, Ronnie, for that. This one was a big one, Ronnie. I wanted to get to your why. You know, you had your dad induct you, do the opening speech to induct you into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, everybody knows your work ethic and everything that you accomplish. Even off the field, you have done amazing things. Still get up early in the morning. This will go down as our earliest locker room show. So talk to the people about your why for being such a high productive individual.
Well, the why is around just being around the whys of people like Dennis Thurman, the whys of people like Willie Davis. You know, I mean, you think of Willie Davis, one of the great Green Bay Packers, unbelievable guys. And the why of why, when I read about him and when he was thinking about, when he was thinking about his life and what he was doing, and you think about the whys of the people that you watch and you've been around, Willie Wood. And my point is that there was always a why. And the question for me was to try to figure out, I want to understand a lot of those whys. I wanted to understand the whys of life. And usually the whys of life are around people who have gone through it before and they seeked it. And not only have they seeked it, but they've said, you know what, I'm going to make that commitment. I'm going to have a purpose-driven life. And the reason I'm going to have a purpose-driven life is due to, you know, certain things that they see and certain things that they want. So when I think of Willie Davis, there's a purpose of me saying, man, he was one of the great guys, but one of the great people that did stuff off the field. And so all of a sudden you can have moments like that. And then I'm going to flip on the offensive side because, you know, there's some guy named, you know, Jim Brown that you would sit there and you would look at his life. Yeah. And clearly when you would look at his life, you would see that America, when he was doing the things that he was doing, you were going, holy smack. You mean I can influence young people's by trying to do certain things in the community. And so you have those kind of people in your life where you're sitting there realizing that, hey man, there are a lot of people you want to model your life after. Go find them, go talk to them, go seek what they're doing, try to figure out who they are, try to understand the issues, try to understand the challenges. And clearly, which I think is one of the most difficult things in life, there are going to be challenges. I mean, for all of us, I have never played a game and I have never ran a business where there were not challenges. They just come with it. They come with it, and they come with it just like I would imagine. You guys have done a tremendous job of sharing your perspective, but there have been challenges that both of you guys have said, "Wow, how do we get through that?" But you have, and you've shown it, and
They're usually his fault, Ronnie.
That's cold. Boy,
I had to get that in there. It was too easy.
Did he slide that in there real quick?
Hey,
we live, so I'm saying that.
All right.
Hey, but you know what? You know what I love is that think about what we just did. In a moment of being thankful, a moment of just having a moment of just sitting here having a great time. Yeah. And I can assure you that comment that came from a place deep down. Deep down. And the reason I know that came from because he could do it. And he was comfortable doing it. And by the way, you treated him just like he was your brother doing it. And that's the beauty of why I love sports, man. It's because we can be sitting here chopping it up, and then boom,
somebody hit you with the blind side.
I think though, fellas, and Ronnie, and I'm sure you'll agree. It's like when you walk away from the game, and I know it's a lot of players that I've talked to. Especially, ones that have been in the league for a number of years. And it's like, what's the one thing you miss? And it was funny, you were just talking about teammates. It's the other 10 guys in the huddle looking back at you.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing that you miss out of the game, out of all the great plays, all the accolades, or what have you, maybe even in some cases, the Super Bowl wins for you. It's like so many guys, it's like, why in some cases, man, are those other 10 guys looking back at you in that huddle, man?
That's why what you just shared, I have a Bill Duffy, the why in my life. When I think of our relationship, driving back and forth to all these basketball games when we were in high school, the why that when I was at his daughter's wedding this past summer, those kind of whys are the whys of endearment. But as you pointed out, when you look back at the whys of the 10 guys that you played with, whether it was a pee-wee football or high school football, hey man,
it's special.
It's special.
It is.
It's special. And the reason it's special is that you can look at that guy and you can remember, man, wow, he brought it.
Yeah.
Or you can remember, he ducked his head and missed that.
Right. Facts.
I can't believe.
Still remember it.
Still.
He stuck his head in that, right? But the point I'm making is like, that's what I love about the huddle. The huddle of whatever it is, the huddle of, sitting there on a baseball diamond on the top of it, sitting there with the catcher, and the huddle of those kind of moments, the huddle of being in the locker room, talking about what we're going to do before the game, the huddle of all these other situations. And I try to bring some of that into my business. I try to bring some of that into the things that I do in life because I'm more like a lot of people. We all are alike. I mean, we all have some qualities that are just innate to all of us, all of us. And so the reason I love sports is that, man, sometimes, you know, when I line up and I remember sitting there line up against Joe, and and he came over and apologized to me one time. This is a great story. He came over and apologized to me, and we're killing Atlanta. We're killing Atlanta, and we're beating them by 30 points. He came over on the sideline and he said, "Hey man, I'm sorry." And I was like, "Sorry about what?" He goes, You had to go back on the field. You know, I threw a pick, man. I didn't mean to throw that pick." I'm like,
Yeah.
"You mean you got that kind of heart, bro? That you thinking about me?"
Right. Right.
So,
and you're winning.
So think about that. That's how great that guy is. That's how special that guy is. That he cared about things that people didn't have to care about. And that's why, you know, when people ask me about Tom Brady, hey man, I like him, I love him, but he ain't that dude. He's not Joe.
Yeah.
And so, but that's what, those kind of characteristics to me, man, when you're in the huddle, they're valuable. They're, you know, they're endearing for a lot of reasons because we all remember them, and we all remember why we loved that moment and why sometimes we had to hate that moment.
Yeah.
Wow, that's special right there. That's some foxhole stories, you guys. Q, and we're almost done, Ronnie, and thank you tremendously for this time. Q, I know you got a question for Ronnie.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ronnie, we wanted to know like your concerns, you know, with today's era's players. You know, obviously we had to look at and deal with the Virginia tragedy with the three players, you know, passing away, you know, being fatally injured. You have the, NIL that the high school and college players are having to deal with. So what are your concerns about things that today's player has to deal with, maybe that, players in your era or even our era for that, didn't have to deal with at the time?
Yeah, the concerns I have for the game and concerns I have for life are, when we see wrong, how do we react to it? And it's something that in the military, when you think of wrong, there are certain things that my dad would talk about that you have to be accountable for the wrong of those kind of moments. And in the military, there are certain, obligations and responsibilities that you learn to live with and you learn to, to do. And so, I've always felt like, duty is important. And the reason duty is important is because there's an aspect of what you have to do because that's what you're called to do. And so what I'm called to do on the 49ers and what they asked me to do on the 49ers, there are certain things that I loved about what Bill would say about our team and what we stand for. The reason he brought Harry Edwards in is that he wanted to show that there were certain things that he wanted us to learn from Harry about how we can stand for certain things. And so those are, moments where those type of duties and responsibilities, we have to continue to figure out what are they today? What are those responsibilities today in our society today? And when I think of a young person that has to figure out the responsibilities of dealing with COVID, man, that's tough. It's tough. It's tough. And yet, we have to be able to listen to people who are wiser and people who can give us the right direction to go. And so, again, I see a number of people that have said, nah, I don't want to do it that way. And I get it. I get it. And I understand why, because we all have a right to do what we want. But in my mind, I'm looking at the responsibilities of what I have to do to fit, because my job is to figure out how I'm going to fit to make my team better, how I'm going to make my situation better. And so how I'm going to make my family better. And so those are the things that I think that I keep coming back to. And so a lot of it is around this duty aspect of how my family and how we still today, when I show up to see my pops, I'm pretty sure that pops is going to say, hey, here's what we have to do. Here's certain things that I'm expecting for you guys during this blessing. I want you guys to be able to understand the values that still exist in the Lott family. And so I think that we have those. I think people still, exercise them. I think people still care about them. I still think that, right is right, and I think wrong is wrong.
Nice.
But I also know that we're in a world right now where it's been really challenging, and a lot of it is, isolation. A lot of it is due to people not being able to do what we're doing right now. I mean, here we've had fun, we've laughed, we've been able to, feel certain things about certain situations as we've been talking, but we need to do more of that with more people, and we need to do more of that with more people, because it helps all of us start to think, man, I'm hearing a different perspective of something. So when I talk to Marcus, I love talking to Marcus because he always has a perspective that helps me think about how I could be better. And so when we chop it up, it's we're chopping it up about things that are, big topics, because he wants me to see that, hey man, there are certain things that I want you to think about. I want you to be cognizant of. And so those are things that I think we all, as we, continue down this path of fitting in and playing with great people and trying to win games, the commonality of and this is what I love about what Dion has done at his school, is that that commonality of, hey, these are certain rules that I'm not going to, allow you guys to exercise and budge. I'm going to be right. I'm going to be tight. And so hey, I'm asking you to be accountable. And so those things, to me, as I listen to what he has done, wow, man, what if all coaches, could exercise some of those things? And I know that they all try to, but sometimes God gives certain people certain skills to get them to get the most out of people. And and so those are the things that I think that if I was a coach, there's some things that I'm hearing from certain coaches that I'm like, wow, I want to do it like that. And I have a lot of friends saying, hey man, I have a lot of friends out there going, hey man, I want to get into coaching because I like what I've seen what Dion has done. I want to get into it because I feel like I can, exercise some of the things that I've learned and possibly helping young people. And so when you start hearing those things, that means that, man, it feels like there's a flywheel starting to happen, and that people are starting to get back into, let's see how we can help people.
Wow, that's amazing. Because there's a lot of challenges, obviously, that these young people are facing and a lot of pressure. So I didn't even think COVID too, still having some lingering effects with their mental health. So you guys, if you need help, like Ronnie said earlier, talk to your coaches, talk to your teammates, but we got to do better in certain cases. We are almost done with the show, but we got Ronnie for a couple minutes. And Ronnie, this is one of the fan favorite portions of the show. This is the lightning round, you guys, and we got our sounder right here. And there you go, the lightning room with us. And we brought the thunder. We got Ronnie with us. So this is our version, you guys, of word association. This is one of the favorite portions of the show for so many people. Ronnie has 60 seconds, you guys, to tell us the first thing that comes to his mind when we mention a person's name, when we mention a comparison. He's got to give us the first thing that comes to his mind. So I know Ronnie is a gentleman. He's going to keep it at least PG-13 for us. And hopefully don't anybody he doesn't like, but we're going to get into it. Now, we don't just do this for fun. We actually do this for a prize, for a reward. And the reward is typically a dinner and a hotel stay for whoever can get the most answers in the portion of time. Now, I don't got Ronnie Lott hotel stay and dinner money. So if Ronnie wins, he may be disappointed if I'm purchasing. So if Ronnie wins, Ronnie, we're going to donate some money to your favorite charity, okay?
Hey, man, I can eat anywhere, bro.
Okay. Ronnie said he's still doing college style. He's down for the college style. So you got 60 seconds, Ronnie. First thing that comes to your mind. I got a good list here. And then we'll count up how many you got at the end. The magic number is 13. So let me get my
easy
ready.
4-2 ain't nothing but the 2-minute drill, man.
So it's on 0. So I'm not cheating Ronnie because I don't want him coming to my house trying to hit me. So it's on 0s. And the magic number is 13. The great Dustin Woods, strength and conditioning coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. He got 13. So we're going to test out Ronnie on the lightning round. So you ready to go, Ronnie?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Now you get 1 extra for any technical delay. We always give 1 extra. So 12 is the number to at least tie at 13.
Here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
We got the stopwatch ready. Get ready, Ronnie. First thing that comes to your mind. Number 1, John Robinson. Go.
Compete.
Reggie Bush.
Nasty.
Eisenhower High.
Sweet.
Al Davis.
Just win, baby.
Apple pie or peach cobbler.
Peach cobbler every day.
Gumbo or Chipino.
Gumbo.
Jim Brown.
Tough. Nasty. Big man. The best.
LA or Miami.
LA.
Dwight Clark.
Oh, the greatest. The
Best QB you've ever played against.
Montana.
50 seconds. Terrell Owens.
Tough.
Best running back you ever played against.
Marcus Allen in practice.
Right.
Time.
Right.
All right, you was cooking.
You might have got it.
There. And it's a trip. So I was wondering if you're gonna mention some teammates. When I was about okay, so let's add it up. Let's add it. He might be our new champion.
What?
I didn't get the double digits.
Actually, I think you might have. So, all right, let's add them up. So, number 1 was John Robinson. We got 1. We got Reggie Bush 2. We got Eisenhower 3. We got Al Davis 4. We got the Peach Cobbler 5. We got Terrell Owens 6. We got best running back 7. We got Jim Brown 8. We got Gumbo 9. We got LA 10. We got Dwight Clark 11. And we got best QB Joe Montana for the 12. So we add 1. So we got 13. We got a tied champion right here. So we might have to have a tiebreaker eventually. But Ronnie came with it. So great job, Ronnie. You was in the 2-minute drill. You was thinking like a quarterback. But let's revisit some of these. So we may have to have a tiebreaker, Ronnie.
Yeah,
eventually. He said, "Let's get it." So let's revisit a couple of these. Obviously, okay. Jim Brown. He said, "Is a bad man." He said he's going with the gumbo over the Cioppino. He said the peach cobbler. He's going with the peach cobbler. He said Al Davis just win. Obviously, Eisenhower was special. Reggie Bush. Now, Reggie Bush, is he number one USC running back? Is it Marcus Allen? Is it OJ?
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Are you pleading the fifth?
Look, you just see now. You just added OJ at the end, right? I'm sitting there going, look, you just threw in. You got to remember, man, when you think about those three. I didn't want to tackle any of them, and probably couldn't catch any of them. Man. All I know is that, man, they were amazing football players. Amazing football.
Juice is a bad man, boy. People,
so, we got some people in the comments on that too. He says, "Great show, Jimmy Rucker," and then Jimmy says you get 2 for the peach cobbler. He said he's going with the peach cobbler too. So, hey, we're to the end of our show, you guys. Once again, we definitely appreciate Ronnie spending some Thanksgiving time with us when he's got his family. If you do have a question for Ronnie, please hurry up and put it in the chat. Ronnie, I'm going to give you one before I let you go, if that's okay. I want to put the coaching hat on you. I know you never decided to really go that route, but I want to put the coaching hat on you. And you're coaching in a Pro Bowl, okay? So you're the DB coach of a Pro Bowl. Now, the special thing about this Pro Bowl, Ronnie, is that you can choose anybody from any era, any time. And you're the DB coach. And I need you, because I know a lot of people wanted this question asked, and I know a lot of people are going to be tuning into the recording too. Ronnie Lott is the DB coach. He's calling the the defensive plays. I need 2 corners, Ronnie, and I need 2 safeties that you would love to coach if it was your second.
Any era now. Any era.
I need 2 safety. You can't choose yourself.
You can't choose yourself, right?
No, but look, but so
who could you lock down on offense with, man, Ronnie?
You got to remember, there's to me, you got to think about the one guy that is going to lock down, and so the question is it Dion? There's that air, you know. I mean, so I'm like sitting here going, oh, he's a lockdown. He's you know, and but then the question is, which I always find, you know, is he Rob Woodson?
Charles Woodson,
you know, or Charles. I mean, Charles. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm like, as I'm sitting here
too,
I'm sitting there debating, and then I'm gonna go back to, you know, Mel Renfro, and I'm gonna go back to, you know, so I might go way back.
You got Lester Hayes too.
I might go a little Lynn Barney on you. So so my point is that, you know, that question right there to say, ooh, that's a. I mean, and wait a minute, and Willie Wood, come on, and the hammer,
he's gonna come with the elbow.
I mean, man, so I'm like sitting there, you know, there are so many great defensive backs that and Mike Haynes.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm like, and so Mel Blount.
Yeah.
Mel Blount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, and by the way, how I would view all of those guys, because every one of them has a little element that is better than anybody. Do you hear what I'm saying? They have a little element that's better than anybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that ingredient that has made them who they are, that element is really, and so when I just started naming off all the corners that are in that group now.
Jimmy says Deion Sanders, Night Train Lane, Steve Atwater, and Rob Woodson.
Yeah, look, so I would probably go with Night Train and Dion. That's what I'd probably, because I just knowing what I know about what they did beyond playing corner.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what I mean, they and they could, they returned it. I mean, they could get, they could get it. Now I'm gonna say Ed Reed to me, when I think about a safety that when I think about him, now the other safety, he's got more interceptions in the history of the game and I'm sitting here going, he played with the Vikings, one of the all-time greats, phenomenal free safety, but a lot of people would say that he had an incredible, group of guys that was, in front of him that was, Paul Krause, and so you look at those type of situations, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, that's as I'm debating,
I love a secondary.
It is
on this on that free safety spot. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Because you still got fellow Troy. You got Troy Polamalu.
I got Troy.
You got Sean Taylor.
You got Sean Taylor. You got man. We go down. So all of a sudden, see so those flavors. So those flavors. Look, I have my son put. This is a great story. My son said, "Hey, Dad, I want you to go watch Sean Taylor, and I want you to just put some highlights on. I just want you to watch him." I was like, "What do you?" And so he goes, "Did you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes,
He's
good. He's really good.
Yeah.
I'll say one thing I'll say about Ed Reed, and I'll never forget my grandfather saying this, because he may be the safety with the best hands, that was dangerous in that aspect, that he could bring it all the way back. And my grandfather told me, you should never drop a football that touches your hands. I don't care that you're a defensive back. If it touches your hands, you catch that ball. And Ed Reed did not give you a second shot if it touched his hands.
And the other thing that I loved about Ed played offense. And what I mean by he played offense is that
like Deion.
He was putting points on the board. He knew
fumble recovery.
Yeah, he knew that, man, that play that he was making, it was not just a play. It was, I'm gonna score. And I told him, I said, man, you are, when it comes to that element of the game, the GOAT of that element of taking it back to the house, to me, unbelievable that he could do that. And so you got, again, and then, like I said, here you got Paul that, was all over the field, and he had range, man. He had range, and so, I mean, look, so wait a minute, but then I'm gonna come back to the strong. We gotta go to the strong safety now. The strong safety thing, is, there's some. So there's some.
You gotta be a man.
Yeah, you got some strong safeties out there that Donnie Shell and others that have that you throw in there, and my point is, like, all of a sudden, that aspect of that particular spot, to me is another incredible position, because that strong safety played a lot of different roles, and so Yeah, man. You know, and what
That's
I
tough.
love is well, the reason it's tough because I go back once a year and I sit with a bunch of guys that I'm like sitting there going, "Holy I mean,
Right.
I mean, when I was sitting to this year, I was sitting with Mel Renfro, and I love
Dang.
talking because I love to talk to him because I love to try to understand, you know, not just what they, you know, where they play, but all this other stuff because there's all this
Mindset.
yeah, that other stuff of like you grew up in, you know, you played at Oregon. Oh, okay, all right. And so, you know, just and my point is like the perspective of what these guys have done. If I was a kid, you know, everybody talks about the history of understanding people. Man, go back and understand your athletes, man. Understand what they're about. Understand and learn what, you know, what drove them, what made them. Because, you know, Harriet Tubman, phenomenal woman for a lot of reasons. But when I think of her, I think of her grit and her grind and her element of being able to do something that even to this day, the ingenuity of her mind figuring out how she can
Organize.
outwit people. And so those type of things
With no social media either.
we need to
No email.
we need to make sure that our young people are sitting there going, wow, if you're an athlete, man, understand why LeBron is LeBron. And it's not just because LeBron is LeBron. And it's because of the work that he's put in. And when he was a young person, there were certain things that he saw that he wanted to be. Understand why Bill Russell is Bill Russell. Understand why Jim Brown is Jim Brown. Understand why Paul Warfield is Paul Warfield. I mean, there's so many. Understand why Jerry Rice, to me, other than Jim Brown, Jerry Rice is
Baddest man in cleats.
baddest man in cleats. And I'm gonna tell you, there is not one human being that's worked harder at his craft than Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, you can name off a lot of people that have had excellence, that have flown to the moon. Chuck Yeager, who broke the sound barrier when he was in a plane, but the excellence of what they achieved was due to the fact that how hard they worked at their craft every day. And my point to you is that dude, every day in practice that I played, when I was around him, I've never seen a human being work as hard as he did. And it inspired all of us every day to get better, man. He's on the top of my list as somebody that I'm always trying to emulate in my life, because that excellence is powerful for all of us. It's powerful that a young man can come from where he came from, and yet have an example of showing people that the reason I'm the best is I'm gonna outwork you.
Flat out.
I'm gonna outwork you. Flat out. I mean, and so for every kid that gets up in the morning thinking that life is hard, hey man, life is a gift when you look at it like he did. It's a gift. So these kids are going to be playing in these championship games. Hey man, you get some Jerry Rice in you this weekend.
Well, hey, there you guys have it. We are closing the book on this very, very special Thanksgiving exclusive with none other than the legend, the GOAT himself, Ronnie Lott. So, Ronnie, enjoy your turkey, your football, and thank you tremendously for blessing us today.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Salute all you guys and all our armed service people. Yes. Salute everyone, man, during this holiday season, man. Thank you, and I'm very grateful to be on this show with all of you guys, man. I appreciate it.
You. Thank you. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, man.
Bless.
Thank you.
All right. There you guys have it, the great Ronnie Lott. And I mean, hey, you know, it doesn't get better than that. This is a show that we've been working on for a while, Q, as you know, and we finally got the legend to come on, pop in the locker room, brother.
Hey man, that was something special right there, man. But
and gave us over an hour.
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you, man, you gotta love our show. We're gonna continue bringing on legends and awesome guests. But man, for all you players out there that were listening, you young guys, man, if you notice, he kept mentioning about work ethic. That's what's gonna set you apart from everyone, because it's, well, like he mentioned with LeBron, but LeBron was watching Magic. You see what I'm saying? So it was like you you look at Jordan, but he was watching Dr. J. So it's like understand your craft, but work ethic is going to always come down and set you apart from so much, definitely on the field for sure. But that's carry over into life in regards to your business or job as well.
Your craft. Yeah, no, I mean, see, the thing, and that's what I got to in the beginning, is people underestimate how smart Ronnie was. And one thing that I knew about him and why I wanted to have him on is because there are very few football historians Ronnie Lott.
Absolutely.
He knows everybody, and it's a trip to see somebody that had so much success. Every level he was dominant, high school through the pros, but to have so much reverence for people that he was probably better than.
Right.
For him to have so much, like, he really, you could tell listening to him talk about some OGs that he thinks the world of these people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that kind of puts
Ronnie Lott.
Hey, I'm telling you. But hey, real quick before we get out of here, Coach, it puts a perspective too on those SC teams in that era, but also those 49er teams. I know you 49er fans that are on there, but it's like when you put a perspective on those teams,
from coaches to players, multiple
Hall
of Famers.
Oh my God.
On the practice field.
Yeah, it's legend after
and
legend.
He came from
legend.
SC.
Yeah.
So I'm going from my roommate being Marcus Allen to now I'm going against Jerry and Joe every day in practice, and Bill Walsh is trying to tell him how to beat me.
It don't get better than that. I'm sorry.
So, hey, there you guys have it. I know you guys got tremendous value out of this locker room show. If you're rocking with us for the first time, today was special. We usually are on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will go back to that after the Thanksgiving holiday, but we know tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so we want to bring you a Wednesday exclusive with the best. So anything for the good people, Q, before we get out of here on this,
I got
holiday?
Nothing for you. Hey, it's big turkey, hot sauce, and a ton of cranberry sauce. Anybody with still in the playoffs? Y'all heard what 42 said. Y'all better make some plays.
Y'all better make some plays. So, hey, don't eat too much where you can't make no plays this weekend. But we love you guys. We know you got value out of the show. We'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving. See you at the top.